Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's Krista from Hebert's Down Home. Christmas is over, guys, and there's kind of this week between Christmas and New Year's where it kind of feels like we get off kilter, off balance somehow. Monty is still off work. The kids do not have school. It seems like we're just way off of every routine imaginable. We have been eating junk, too much sugar. We've been eating at odd times. We've been going through the drive-through, trying to just kind of make it by. And it is time to kind of refocus and get things pulled back together. It seems like, especially with our larger than average family and kids with special needs, the schedule becomes really important to us. I say that kind of funny because it really becomes super important to me. Like, I feel like the kids can handle it to a certain extent for a while, but I can't. So we've done some days. Yesterday was a super down day. Yesterday was the 26th. It was Monty's birthday, and bless his heart, to have a birthday on the day after Christmas is rough, but it is his birthday, and so we actually are going to celebrate later on in the week, so that we can actually enjoy it, because yesterday we were just all so wiped out. We decided just to let the kids play with toys and just hang out. I actually slept. I left the mess, which is really hard for me. I just left the mess, and we just kind of had a relaxing day. So that was really kind of nice to do that. But it's time now to kind of regroup and refocus and get things back in order. Now this weekend they'll kind of get all off kilter again, and then we'll have New Year's weekend, and so that'll kind of throw things for a loop. But even that next week yet is a planning week for me. So that means that the kids are not homeschooling. And so it's still going to be kind of rough. So it's just time to kind of get some things back lined up. Here is my plan of attack. First of all, I'm going to gently get a few things back on schedule. So I am thinking things like picking some things during the day that are really important to us. I'm thinking food is important because, you know, hungry and angry kids, and adults are kind of hard to handle. So I'm thinking we need to get our meals back on schedule so that everybody feels comfortable and safe, and we're not just eating junk all day and then grabbing things in the drive-thru because, you know, dinner didn't get on the table and I didn't have things ready. So getting on schedule with meal times. And then also I'm thinking we need to get back on the meal plan. You know, those huge shopping hauls that you've seen lately, especially the one at the beginning of December? Well, I have food in the house, so that is absolutely not an excuse. The excuse is things have just been busy. And so I feel like if I need to get back on the meal plan, get things thought out, get meals ready to go, and kind of just deal with my meals. That in itself, just kind of settling that down, will help our schedule a lot. That's 3 times a day that will hit on schedule, that kind of refocus us and help us to kind of recenter ourselves. So that's my first thing that I'm gonna do. Next, we're gonna regulate bedtimes and sleep. And actually we're gonna do this simultaneously because I'm like ready tonight to work on this. But getting everybody back on a good sleep schedule. I don't know if any of you have ever noticed this, but even though the kids are going to bed late, they still seem to get up at the same time. And so we're losing a lot of hours of sleep somewhere in there, and that does not make for happy children or happy mamas. So, and also, I mean, at the end of the evening when we get the kids down, that is the time where Monty and I get to relax, maybe watch a show together or just talk about our day, and we're really missing out on that. So it's time to kind of get that back on schedule. Now for our teenagers, they sleep in the morning, which then makes life more difficult too. So we just need to get everybody sort of back on track and back on schedule with bedtimes and morning wake up time. Then also our rest times in the afternoon. Like, that's a downtime for me where I often will straighten up things or kind of catch up with whatever's going on, maybe make dinner, work on the blog or the vlog, and the kids are kind of relaxing. That's also a time when they're all kind of all separate, doing their own things. maybe watching a movie, looking at books, or playing quietly with toys. And so that's a super helpful time. And during the holidays, that just kind of went out the window. We were just busy, going. And we still sort of are. With Monty home, that sort of changes. He runs a lot of errands because he likes to go places, which is awesome because I hate running errands. So it's helpful, super helpful. But then over rest time, a lot of times they go with him, which actually kind of helps me too because they're just not here. But just kind of getting back into that routine of that rest time will be helpful as well. So kind of over the next few days, working that back in to the schedule, especially if they're at home, going ahead and having kind of that down quiet time in the afternoon, reading some books, that sort of thing. The next thing we're gonna do is use those new toys to our advantage. So we got all these great Christmas toys, right? And it's super, super cold outside here, guys, right now. Like 0 and below 0, like the wind chill is way below 0. And so we can't like go outside, which is our main go-to around here. Like we live outside if we can. So right now we can't be outside. So we are all stuck together in the house. But we have all these new toys that the kids have gotten for Christmas. We're gonna use those to our advantage. And what I do is a lot of times I will separate the kids into different areas of the house or different bedrooms or whatever and have them do a 30-minute quiet playtime alone. So we've had all this time together and the kids are starting to get really testy and they're starting to argue with each other and fight, and it's getting crazy around here. So just having that 30 minutes of alone time, we could even do it in the morning and in the afternoon to kind of fill in some of the gaps and just give everybody a break from each other would be super helpful. We have all these new toys, so there's lots of fun new things to do that can occupy their time for 30 minutes or so. Our limit at our house is like 30 minutes, and then they start coming out and like asking, you know, how much longer, or they're done and over it, they're bored. But if you can get away with longer, go for it, because you could get some good stuff done during those times. So I'm kind of thinking about that, or setting up some sort of a rotation where they play with different toys and new things. Or that's another thing that I want to get back in place this week and over the next couple of weeks before we get back into our school routine. The last thing is to spend some quality time together. It just seems like if I turn off my phone and turn off all the electronics in the house and I am just fully present with my kids, even if it's only for 30 minutes or an hour, that we read books or play a game together or play together, and that I'm just present with them, it makes a huge difference in our whole day. And it just gives them that attention that they're wanting from mom in a good way, not in a bad way like mom breaking up fights and stuff like that, which that's what it feels like right now. But I just need to sit down and spend some time with my kids, even though things are chaotic and the house is a mess and I'm like, I really need to clean this up and I need to do this and I need to do that and I need to get these things ready for the next gathering and this next weekend and this and that going on. Sit down, stop. You're gonna get more done if you just take some time with the kids and be with them, be fully present for a little while. And sometimes you can do that and then also include them in what you're doing. And I know it takes longer, guys, and I get that, and sometimes I just don't do it because of that. But involve them in what you're doing. Let them help you make something or do something, and just that one-on-one time is just invaluable. So the saying that I always go back to is, the days are long, but the years are short. And it is so true. Like, the days seem so long sometimes, especially with those littler ones and difficult days. But all of a sudden, like, we have a 16-year-old in this house. And it's like, where did those days all go? Like, I don't know what happened. And all of a sudden she's like really close to grown up. And I, you know, just take advantage of this time when the kids are off and your schedule's off, and entertain. I mean, just be with them, be present with them, and they'll love it and you'll love it, and it'll just make good memories. So I want to encourage you to do that, because that's my goal this week, is to take some time with them. And over the next couple of weeks is just maybe try to plan an activity, an art activity, play a game, I don't know, paint all together or color all together even. There's so many cool adult coloring books, even for the older kids. And my older kids, they'll sit down and do it with us. If I'm doing it, we can listen to an audiobook and color. One thing that I love, which this reminds me because I need to send Monty on this errand because he loves errands. But we go to our local newspaper and I get the end rolls, and then we just roll out a huge sheet across our whole table. And the kids color while we listen to an audiobook, and they just do this huge creation and they love it. And I'll just leave those crayons and that paper out all day on the table, and they'll just come back and add lots of stuff to it all day long. And it's just kind of our fun little art project and creation, and it gets thrown away at the end of the day, and they know that and they're okay with it. Sometimes I'll cut out a section that they made if there's something really cool that they want to keep, but it's just sort of a fun activity that everybody likes and comes and goes from. Or my kids are getting to the age, especially the older ones, you know, or the middle age, where they will sit down and do a huge puzzle. So if we set up a table in the corner and we all sort of just work on it throughout. Monty was even talking about, he has an old 3D puzzle, and he was talking about getting it back out and working on it this week. We haven't done that yet. We're running out of time, and it seems like the days just sort of slip away on us. But it's so cold. Those are all just great activities to do as a family, and to just hang out, chill, because, you know, we've all had this really stressful time of Christmas and just celebrating, and lots of fun too, but it's time to just kind of cool down and chill out. So I'm curious to hear from you guys in the comments below. What are some ways that you're gonna spend this in-between transition weeks between Christmas and New Year's, and then, you know, after, while the kids are still out of school? Our public school even is out until almost all the way through next week. So they get New Year's Day off and then most of that week. So so that feels kind of strange to me too. And we're actually doing that with our homeschool as well. We have got one little guy in public school. So we're kind of running that same schedule with the homeschooling. And I'm gonna use that as my planning week, so that planning for the next quarter. But what do you guys do with those weeks, or with these weeks of kind of in between transition time, where we're not really doing Christmas activities anymore, but we need things to do, and what do you do with those times? But that is kind of our plan of attack. That's what we're gonna do to get ourselves back on schedule and back on track, and kind of calm the chaos here, because it is very chaotic during these days. And it will be somewhat until Monty goes back to work, because we just love spending time with him. So we kind of boot the schedule when Monty's around, and we just spend time with Dad, you know, and that's okay too. But finally we've got to kind of reel it back in and figure out some ways to kind of settle the chaos down, so that all of us can feel more comfortable and life can kind of chill. Be sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.